Hi, I'm Yapo, and today we are going to do something a little bit different. So, because we've got such an influx of new players, I thought I would try and make a strategy guide, basically, to this game. As kind of a just basic, since we don't talk a whole lot about the nuts and bolts in the regular LP, figured I'd see what we could do with this. So I am actually playing the Underdepth starter deck again, and I'm actually playing against a new goon here. So I'm going to go ahead and keep the combat log open since it's somewhat helpful. It's been a little broken since forever, but it'll help a little bit at least. So one of the first things I'm going to do is enable the grid. It's because it helps keep everything straight and helps me count and stuff. Looks a little busy, and if you hit the G button a second time, it will tell you all the information about all the squares here. I find it a little too visually busy to use on a regular basis, so I stick with a normal grid, but it's nice if you want some more information. Now, the other thing you can do with terrain is if I hover over terrain and press the N key, you can see there in the bottom left corner, it'll tell me exactly what the terrain types are, in this case sand and rock, the height and the location. Or if I go over the tar, it'll tell me it's impeding, so it takes me more AP to walk across it, but just give you some general information. So I'm going to go ahead and scry first turn, see what I can come up with. Now since this guy is ranged, I'm going to go ahead and put out a pincushion, and I'm going to go to the same side here, because I can't rush this side and cap it in the first turn, so it's not really worth it to give up on my other side here. I actually am pretty fond of this map. It's, I think, one of the better ones because it really rewards flying, and it really rewards guys who have an ability called clear, which means they can ignore impeding terrain. And since it's a multi-front map, you're trying to fight on both sides, it gives you a little more tactical challenge, so to speak. Now, the fonts are also close enough on this one that you have to do some serious worrying about capping the other fonts. Some of the multi-front maps have quite a bit of space between the odd side, so you don't have to worry quite as much about it. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a flying champ here, since this is great for flying, to go try and cap this side font. And so he either doesn't have enough Nora to drop a champ or is trying to save for something big. But I'm going to bet he doesn't have enough Nora because he dropped that war banner the first turn. So he spent 95 and probably only has about 50-60 left, which is a little expensive for most Sundered Lands champs. So because of stuff like that, I would advise against dropping your banner on the first turn like that. Now you'll notice I'm leaving my guys with 4 AP whenever possible. And that's because they can hold 4 AP between turns. So anytime I can, I leave them with 4 AP because that just gives me more options and more flexibility when the next turn comes around. Now if I need to go cap a font or go attack a guy or something, I'll gladly go below that. But if I'm just moving around anytime I can, I'll try and leave 4. Now there are a few abilities that punish you for having AP. There's an ability called Punish, which takes all your AP and damages you for it, and there's an ability called Punishing Aura, which doesn't take your AP but damages you for the AP you have left. So if your opponent has one of those abilities, it's generally a good idea to run some more of your AP off if you're worried about your health and some other damage like that. So right now I'm just kind of trying to develop my units out. I'm not going to deploy anymore just because I'm going to wait till I cap this font because he's not going to be able to contest this next turn. And so I'll have some space to put guys out over there this next time. And so I'm not sure if he's going to try and push hard on the left side or go for the right. Now if I were him, I would push a little harder on the left, which is what he's going to do right here. Because the right side he's not going to be able to get anywhere close to. And now he's put his guy up a little bit here, but honestly, I would have just saved the AP, personally. Now, I'm not trying to be down on Earwig. He's a new player, so he's not quite used to doing all this yet, but that's hopefully part of the reason that I'm doing this, is so I can help some of the newer guys here learn a little bit more of the tips and tricks. And I'm trying to remember all these abilities here because I haven't seen a Draxar Charger in a long time. Don't be afraid on your opponent's turn to click on guys, look at their abilities real quick. In fact, I'd highly encourage you to do it on your opponent's turn, just because that's pretty well the best time you can do it. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a big guy over here. And I'm going to try, and this guy's got a couple different bombs, but he can only throw one because he didn't save enough AP. So I'm going to go ahead and try and head up here. And I'll go cap this fawn over here. And other than that, I'm going to hold off right now. I could drop my war banner, but I'm going to go ahead and save the Nora just in case. Because I don't need it this turn. I don't think either of my guys are going to die. So I'm just going to hold on to it. War banners are also really good for contesting, because they only cost 20 Nora, and they have quite a bit of HP to contest with. And while they're great for your guys to use, because they give your guys HP and damage, it's also nice to have a contesting relic available. So he ran in here and hit me, and he's got block, which means my first melee attack is probably going to fail. So I am going to go hit him with this little guy first, because he does substantially less damage than this other guy. So that's my goal here. We'll see how well it works. And he's finally started to move towards the side, but he's a little far behind. I don't think it's gonna take him a couple turns to get there too, so I'm not super worried about it. Now, I think this is actually the Sundered Lands starting deck, or at least one of them, but I'm not entirely sure. So I'm not going to commit to that just yet, but he's trying to get some more champs out on the board. And hopefully I can kill this guy this turn, but we'll see. So now I'm going to go ahead and drop my banner, and I'm going to drop it over here on this one, because that's the one I'm more worried about losing. And it'll make it a little harder for him to contest. And there's block triggering, just like I thought. So I'm not able to kill him this turn, but hopefully that guy will still survive. So I'm going to put out another ranged unit over here, and I'm going to put him all the way over here, so that way I can't get bombed easily. So while I'm waiting, I'm going to go curse this guy, slow him down a little bit, just do a little bit of damage, because I'm not really within his attack range or anything, and I think I'm going to call that a turn. This map develops a little slowly, just because the distances are a little far apart, until we get to like fight over here. Now I don't think he can kill me, but if he does, he'll be in a pretty good spot. We'll see. Now, one of the important things with things like block and dodge is that they all have a cooldown. So this guy only has block 1, which means he can block every other turn. So next turn he's not going to be able to do anything. He's not going to be able to block any of my attacks. So I can just attack him with whatever I want to start with, and hopefully it'll kill him. And this is very bad. So that was a very good choice on his part to use the spell Quickening, which gives all of his guys 2 attacks. So I'm afraid that my guy might die now. In fact, my guy will die. So that was a good choice for him to use that spell. That was actually it's a very good choice, because he kills my guy now. But hopefully he's got a relic to contest with, because if he doesn't, it's not necessarily a huge advantage for him. Especially because he just bombed his own guy. It's not the best choice. Not a great look. So he should also, yeah, there he goes with that guy, and he'll get a couple attacks off with that one. But I'm not too worried right now. Although this doesn't look great, I still have plenty of Nora, and I'll have my font back here before too long. So one of the things is this guy has an ability called Encourage, so I'm going to attack with this other one first. Because with Encouraged, every time one of my guys attacks, he gets extra damage. So he gets a little extra damage, and I can kill this guy right here. And then I'll move up here and contest this guy since he's ranged. I'll go stand next to him and punch him in the face a couple times. And I'm not too worried about this side anymore because things are still looking pretty good. So I'm going to put another guy out here on this side. And hopefully that'll help me take care of some of these problems. And that's in a little bit of a precarious spot, but I'm not too worried about it right now. And I'm going to go ahead and end my turn, I guess, because I got nothing else to do. Now you'll notice I don't use spells very much. One of the big things you need to focus on in using spells when you're first starting is make sure that if you're going to use a spell, you're going to kill a champ with it. So like I said, when you use that spell to kill my guy, that's great. If you're going to drop a spell, make sure you're killing something. As soon as you can articulate why we put that rule out there, you can start doing whatever it is you want. But for starters, think of it like that. If you have a lot of Nora floating around and have no idea what to do with it, like you're trying to argue if you should use a spell or not, just drop another champion. Because more board control and more champions will almost always help you out. So when in doubt, drop a champ. But right now it's looking fairly good for me. Not great, but I'm in a fairly good spot. I got more champs down than he did. He killed one of my guys, but he spent quite a bit of Nora doing it. So I'm not super concerned. This Skeezic Alchemist is going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt since most of my spells do fire damage and he is immune to fire. So is this one actually. So that's a little annoying. But I think I can make it work. Like I say, I'm not super worried about this champ because every time it attacks it heals up a little bit. But this guy will have been laying traps out, so I got to be careful of those. And I don't know if I have anyone with detect. Detect would be real nice right about now, but I don't know if I have any. So again, this guy has encouraged, so I'm going to attack with everyone else I can before him. And now normally in this situation I could use a spell to kill it, but my only spells right now are fire and it's immune fire, so it would just be a total waste of Nora. So I'm going to go ahead and drop another flyer out here. And actually, since he put out another guy, I am going to drop another guy over here too. Now I'm trying to keep my guys spaced out so they don't get hit with, so like he can't hit more than one person with a bomb at a time, is basically what I'm trying to do with my deployment there. Although, to be honest, I probably should have dropped him one space closer because he would have gotten 2 attacks off that way. So that's probably a mistake on my part. But we'll see what he can do. Now, this little guy, it would be his advantageous to attack me and then explode him. Because he's going to explode next turn anyway, because he's short-lived. You can see the little counter down here has got a 2 on it. And if he doesn't explode it this turn, I'm just going to run away and he's going to explode and not do any damage to me in the first place. So that would be the optimal strategy here. And it's good. Where I dropped him didn't really matter because he backed up. He's going to try and attack me with that guy. Now, Pincushion's dying, but I don't really care that much because he's really cheap, and he's doing a good job blocking off that path for me right now. So basically, he's just going to sit there and be in the way and be annoying. Alright, and that guy exploded finally. No biggie. Alright, good thing I put this guy out because it's going to come over here and finish him off for me. And that guy's got dodge. Crap. So I messed that up a little bit. But he shouldn't have run this guy down here because he's going to get mauled. Now, this guy does have a damage over time that's he's hit him with, but this guy's also got regeneration, so he's not going to die unless I use a spell. So this is going to be an optimal time for me to just blast him and kill him off. So I can get my font back, and I can get a little bit of Nora back. Not a lot, but a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and use Charm there so he can't attack me. And I guess I am just going to hit this guy a bunch. And hopefully kill him. Yep, there we go. And now, I don't think this guy has quite enough damage to kill him, but we're going to shoot him anyway and try and do as much as we can. So he's almost dead there. Now, normally I would sacrifice this guy because he's almost dead, and that would give me resources back. But again, I'm more worried about him being a roadblock and not letting this guy get up close to me. So I'm just going to leave him there. So I'm feeling pretty good now. I've only lost one champ. He's lost a couple. And I'm getting ready to lose this guy, obviously. But I'm not, like I say, I'm not worried about him. Because he's done his job of just being annoying and being in the way. Now, hopefully I can kill that thing before it gets too far away. But the smart move here would be to run it away back to a shrine area, because that'll increase the amount that it regenerates every turn. I don't know if he'll do that or not, because I don't know if he's familiar with the shrine bonus, but that would be what I would do. Alright, and luckily, the ability I have called Fascinate did a really good job there and got it away from me. So I'm going to go ahead and use another spell to kill both of these things, actually. And I'll cast it on this one. Kill all that stuff, so I'm away from the explosion. And we'll run up here and wail on this guy. Since he's ranged, it's good for us to get up close to him. And again, every attack buffs these guys up just a little bit. So I am trying to figure out what my plan's going to be here. And I think I'm just going to hit him with both of these guys and call it a day. Move him up one just in case. So now if he drops another guy out there on the font, I can do quite a bit of damage to him. I was hoping to have enough damage that I could run in and contest, but so be it. So if he drops another guy over there, it's going to get wailed on by the archers. So I'm not too worried about that side. And this side's looking pretty good since I've killed everything he's got over there. So I'm feeling pretty confident about this. And part of it is making sure that I put champs down with my Nora instead of anything else. And making sure I'm not running my champs in to die needlessly. Because I sacrificed the one guy, but like when he ran his guy down here to contest the font, he wasn't going to survive very long, and it wasn't worth the 12 Nora that he cost me for contesting that font for one turn. And that's one of the things you got to think about when you go in to contest a font, is it going to be worth it? Am I going to spend few enough resources that it hurts him more than it hurts me? Just part of the reason I like War Banners so much for contesting is that they're so cheap. Even if they only contest one turn, you're only down 8 Nora for actual cost exchange. And you're also up because they can't deploy that turn. So if you're coming in with guys behind it, you gain a strategic advantage there as well. So we just put out a stealth guy, and my money's on the stealth guy being over here. So I am going to do something a little unconventional here. First off, I'm going to get my attacks in with these guys. And he lived with one. That's super annoying. So I'm going to go collect my Nora globes here. So I think he is over here somewhere. So I'm going to move this guy up just a little bit, and I'm going to put a fire blast right here. Nope. So he's smart, and he just made me waste a bunch of Nora there. So I don't know where he put it, but not there. And there's a bunch of traps, so I need to stop that guy running. So I am going to go ahead and put my big hero out over here. Which I probably should have put him out over on this side so he'd be closer to the fight, but I'm not too worried about it right now. So in that situation, how I use that spell, I wouldn't advise doing stuff like that unless you are very confident in your board position and your Nora advantage, because it can end up being a total waste. Like there he is right there. So I just wasted that, but I thought he was over there, and had he been over there, I would have de-stealthed him and I probably would have been able to kill him. So not great for me, but that's the reasoning behind me doing that. So now I gotta figure out if I can kill that guy. These guys can actually run in a fair way and shoot, but I don't think they're going to be able to run far enough. But we'll see. So a big thing with UD, with the underdepths, like I say, is sacrificing. If you've got a guy that's going to die, it's a really good idea to sacrifice him so you get resources back for him. And let's see if I can find him. He shouldn't have moved too much. He did, though, because of that Fascinate ability. And there he is. So I'm going to smack him a couple times. It's almost enough to kill him. And luckily this guy can go finish the job for me. So again, if I don't have any reason... Oh, come on. Alright, so I'm going to have to drop a relic here to kill him because I'm out of spells. So this relic actually does 8 fire damage to anything around it. And again, because I have some extra Nora and I don't know what to do with it, I'm going to go ahead and put a champ down. So again, this guy has regeneration. So the damage over time wouldn't kill it alone, because it would have had 4 damage over time done, and it would have regenerated 4 at the start of the turn, so it would have been left with the same amount of HP. So I had to do something else to kill it. It's one of the big things new players forget with damage over time kills, is that regeneration happens at the same time. So it'll go into the negative for just a second, and then the regeneration will officially happen at the same time, and you'll be in the same spot. So again, doing pretty good here. I've been able to kill most all of his champs he's put out, and he's in a bad spot right now. To be honest, he's probably, well, he's not going to come back from this. So he's really, and a normal player in this situation would probably just surrender. Now, if you are playing and you get in this position and you're playing with one of your decks, it's good to not surrender and just try and put out champions that you need CP on, champion points, to level them up. Just because anytime you put them out on the field, they'll get some more points. So that would be the goal right now for him, is to do that. But instead he's going to use a spell. Again, I'm not hugely fond of spells for newbies, because most of the time you just end up not using them well. And it's nothing against any particular one person, it's a thing that new players love to do, is use spells anytime they absolutely can. And it's just not a good look. So I'm moving up all my guys here, saving my AP, except these guys who are now within attack range. So I'll move them all the way up, and I'll attack with them here in a second. I think I'm going to have enough damage to actually kill. Yep, I should. So I'll pop it with my archers a couple times here, and that should be all she wrote. So voila. So again, a big part of this game is the Nora value of what you're spending versus what you're accomplishing. Is what you're getting ready to spend worth the damage it's going to do? Is that spell going to be worth the Nora you spent on it? And so that needs to be a big part of what you're thinking of. The other thing you need to be thinking of is, what can my opponent do back to me? So, like, I wasn't thinking about it when he used that spell and killed off my first big dragon. I wasn't thinking about the quickening spell, which is what that one's called. It lets him attack twice. So I didn't even factor it in, and I got caught for it and paid the price with my guy dying. So these are kind of important factors when you're playing a game. And hopefully this has been at least a little bit informative, and will give you a little bit better idea of some of the strategy in the game, especially for newer players. So thanks for watching, and hope you guys enjoyed it.